Okay, I'm here with Granite Grok, Skip Murphy with the Tech Guy's first post-election interview with fellow writers, bloggers, conservatives. Skip, first of all, what was your reaction? Were you as surprised as most of the country by Trump's win? And if not the win, the scope of it?
Well, I had made the prediction to the other Groks is either Hillary was going to win by a small amount or that Trump was going to win by a lot. I just didn't know which one it was. And to give you a little bit of a surprise, I stayed up till about 2 o'clock in the morning, Wednesday morning. I was really first surprised when the electoral votes first started coming in and he was leading 18-3. And it just kept on going from there and going and going and going. But then when I went to bed, he had a sizable lead. And I figured, well, they still haven't called Michigan, they still haven't called Minnesota, still waiting on Arizona.
Technically, they haven't called Michigan yet, if I'm not mistaken.
That is correct. That is correct. So I thought,
or New Hampshire. Or did they call New Hampshire today?
I don't know. I've been out stacking wood. I had to get caught up. So I went to bed, and I had the day off on Wednesday, and all of a sudden at 8 o'clock, my normal start time, my wife came in, the most esteemed wife, and she shook me awake. You gotta get to work, I got the day off. And then she went, Trump won, Trump won, Trump won, Trump won. I couldn't have her jumping up and down any faster than if I had injected 5 pounds of sugar into her. And it was really cool to see. But yeah, I was mildly surprised. And I really thought, wow, we might have something here.
I must confess, I tweeted out at 9:30 that evening that I think it was that Trump had it because they weren't calling states. And I said earlier in the day, if they call states fast, they're going to be for Hillary. If they call states slow, then that means that Trump is going to win because they're going to try and steal a state.
But they did call a number of states right off the bat, and they went for Trump.
Yeah, but they weren't states that were unexpected for the GOP, though.
I think one was, but I can't remember what it was. But just the fact that he had a lead was just very surprising, and he kept it.
Yeah, that was something. One of the things, and this is a theory that I have, and I'd like your opinion on it. As I've mentioned more than once, Trump didn't just have to win, but he had to win beyond the margin of corruption. And it occurred to me that one of the reasons why Trump was able to carry Michigan and carry Wisconsin and almost carry Minnesota is that the Democrats had no idea he had a shot at them, and thus the normal machine politics they would use to gin up extra votes because you hold back your districts, that couldn't work. And like in Florida, they held back Broward, and when they figured they wouldn't be able to take enough votes, they might as well release it because we're not going to be able to scrounge enough votes type of thing. What's your opinion on that?
When you actually look, it was almost like a replay of Obama, but for the Republicans this time. When you start looking at the actual vote counts in some of the bellwether counties, Trump won, but only by a little bit. It's sort of like I've said here in relationship to, say, Kelly Ayotte. Granite Grok only has to change the opinion of between 0.5 and 1.5% in every single district, and we get something to win. Whereas somebody like Kelly had to win 51% of the time. And we have now seen that she didn't win. But it was the same thing, though, for Trump, where he got that extra 0.5%, 1.5, without me going into some of the raw numbers off the top of my head. So he won what he had to do, so the electoral votes turned out to be huge. But it was still a very close vote when you start looking at the public, all of the votes.
Now, what was the mood on Grok Talk today? I mean, it must have been really something.
Well, actually, we haven't been doing Grok Talk Saturday mornings for a while.
Oh,
now.
I'm not aware.
Steve was the one who's always been driving, and he's decided to take that in a different route. So he does it otherwise. But I will tell you that if you look at Granite Grok, you can tell how much fun this was. I think this is what Instapundit has called the Fun Week Victory, or the Fun Victory Week. We have all been posting about, great, we've heard all these Democrats, progressives, and leftists saying how we have to be civil when Trump loses, that, you can't keep saying that the election is rigged. And it has been no small amount of mirth with which we have been posting up. Look at the meltdowns this time.
And of course, the riots are taking place in blue areas, so they're not really affecting people who the Trump voters.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. I put up an image that basically said that, okay, go ahead and burn down these cities that have had nothing but 50 years of Democrat control to show how mad you are at Trump.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned Kelly Ayotte's defeat, which I was very disappointed on, because I was one of the few who thought that despite some of the disappointments that she gave us, that she had actually done good service, especially on Benghazi, especially on opposing Chuck Hagel, and especially on talking up the Iranian Revolution. Was her wishy-washiness on Trump the deciding factor? Was her a little bit of a hedging on pro-life at the end in some of her commercials a factor? What do you think, or was it voters coming across the border from Massachusetts? Because I know Granite Grok has talked about the transient vote in the past.
Yeah, I don't know about the transient vote. We'd have to talk with Ed Nail, chair of CNHT and a blogger at Granite Grok about that, because that's his specialty. But I think what she did was that the years of literally lettering it into different events. Oh, Kelly couldn't be here tonight, but she has sent somebody to read a letter that she wrote in. I think that torqued a little, no small number of people across. I've been after her since she joined up with John McCain, because she campaigned back in 2010 on a number of issues, amnesty being one of them, totally against amnesty, and then she went the other way. And that certainly ticked me off. Don't lie to me, because I will just stick on you. And I know that...
Yeah, you're rather tenacious.
People reading Granite Grok are going to see it over and over and over again, and sooner or later it's just going to become innate. And frankly, I think the people who voted for Aaron Day, the independent, and Chabot, the libertarian, they got 34,000 votes between them. And that was well beyond the margin of difference between her and Maggie the Red Hassan.
Now, speaking of Maggie the Red Hassan, New Hampshire unfortunately went the way of Massachusetts in that they now have nobody in the majority party in Washington, but you did manage to get a Republican governor. So there must have been some ticket splitting there.
I think so. Not so much ticket splitting. It might have been just not voting for Kelly, because again, the Libertarian and the Independent candidates for U.S. Senate got 34,000 votes.
Kelly only lost by a couple of thousand.
1,200. I voted for Aaron Day. I did not vote for Kelly Ayotte. And I will be upfront about it, and I've said it for a long time. I wasn't going to. If you tick me off and you don't do what you say you're going to do, I'm done. You know, I did that with Frank Ginton back when he first tried to rerun for office. You know,
how does the New Hampshire State House look right now in terms of Republicans versus Democrats?
That's a good question.
Or has it been decided yet?
It has been decided. The Republicans own the New Hampshire House, the New Hampshire State Senate, the New Hampshire Executive Council, and the governor's office. The question will be in the New Hampshire House, are we going to get yet another Democrat-appointed Republican Speaker of the House? Because Sean Jasper was Speaker, but he only won because he got all the Democrats to vote for him, versus Bill O'Brien, who also tried for the speakership. So there's been a lot of acrimony this past year. We'll see what happens.
Well, I'm of course a big Bill fan, so O'Brien, so I'm hoping to see that. And if people want to find out more of your opinions here, more of your stuff, where should they go as if they shouldn't already know?
This would be granitegrok.com, and let me leave you with this. I will be putting up a post a little later on called The Year of No More Excuses. The Republicans now own D.C. The Republicans now own the legislative and executive branch here in New Hampshire. We conservatives and libertarians are not going to brook any more excuses, because you can't have any more excuses. You finally got what you've been asking for. It was handed to you on a silver platter. Now, are you going to tarnish that silver platter or not?
I mean, that's really the question. There's no reason why we shouldn't see at least the start of the wall. There's no reason why we should not see Obamacare repealed, even if you replace it with just some of the provisions repassed. And there's no reason why we should not see more stringent things when it comes to vetting immigrants. If we don't see those three things, I think there's going to be some real trouble.
Well, we're going to see. He was very strong in a lot of what he talked about during the campaign. And the last 2 days, we're starting to see a little bit of walk back on that stuff, and I'm getting nervous.
Well, we're hearing talk and I think until we actually see him inaugurated, I wouldn't worry yet.
But you know something?
But we should keep the pressure on.
If they gave us Ted Cruz and Mike Lee as Supreme Court justices, I could overlook a few other things.
So could I. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, and take care, and see you on GraniteGrok.com.